Gerhard Struber looks set to become the new Bristol City manager, and we're going to talk about him in this video. Now, this video all stems from a simple tweet by John Percy from The Telegraph, who I think is one of the most reliable football journalists in the business, basically. He has tweeted to say that Bristol City are set to appoint Gerhard Struber as their head coach. Obviously, the former manager of Cologne, Salzburg and New York Red Bulls, and of course Barnsley, kept them up. Really tumultuous time for their club in the Championship. He's impressed with talks. And yeah, obviously, we're a pretty sought after job, to be fair, and it looks like it will be confirmed this week. And in this video, I'm going to take you through what I think that means for Bristol City. Now, just as a quick reminder, if you didn't know much about Gerhard Struber already, he likes to play in a 4-2-2 or a 4-2-3-1 formation. In fact, towards the end of his time at Cologne, by the way, in his previous role at Cologne, he won the second division in Germany and got them promoted to the Bundesliga. I believe he was still sacked from that job in May, but obviously he got them promoted. Prefers to play 4-2-2, 4-2-3-1, and I saw in the last couple of games for Cologne at least, he played a 4-3-1-2. But I think that was just the way the Cologne squad was built. Two up front, they had two decent strikers. I'm not sure Bristol City are in that position, although we'll talk about how that might impact Bristol City and how they might play under him. High energy, vertical football, big focus on pressing, kind of the Red Bull sort of style. He uses a high press, winning the ball quickly, disrupting build-up. And you can see the details of his defensive play there. Direct and vertical football from attack, quick passes, wide attackers drifting inside, creating central overloads, exploiting chaos after turnovers, fast combinations, fast forward runs. The Red Bull philosophy, prioritising youth and athleticism, and demanding like a full buy-in. If you're not prepared to put the effort into press, you don't get into the team. And I'd like to think that's kind of aligned to Brian Tinian is not without his critics, right? But I think it's clear to see I think the squad that he's trying to build and the ethos around it. There are obviously two candidates for this Bristol City job, right? Between Gerhard Struber and Rob Edwards. That was known going into this weekend. And I just think if that's the strategy that Bristol City are going down with their football, I do think Gerhard Struber suits that better than Rob Edwards did. And yeah, I'm certainly excited by the prospect of it. I just want to say, if you haven't already, I'd really appreciate it if you could subscribe to the Robin's Nest YouTube channel down below. And you can set yourself a notification as well for whenever I upload, which should hopefully be quite a lot going into this next season. And of course, during the season, I'll talk everything I know about the managerial appointment, new transfers, new signings, few tier lists chucked in there, and of course match previews and reviews from all the games across next season that I can muster up the time to do. So yeah, please subscribe and pass on to your friends as well. I think this is going to be a great way to grow the channel. If you think your friends will enjoy the content I'm making, please let them know about the Robin's Nest. So I made a video last week about Gerhard Struber. So what I'm trying not to do is repeat everything I've gone through there, but what this shows, what this graph or table here shows, is team style rankings for the second division in Germany, just to give you an idea of how Cologne played under him last season. So they ranked number 1 in the league in terms of position. They were first in the league. They were 4th in the league for total possession, which means he's not necessarily an absolutely possession, dominant wanting manager. He doesn't just want to keep the ball for the sake of it. However, they did make the most passes in the league in the opposition third. In terms of field tilt, which essentially means the zone of the pitch that the ball spends, I guess, the most time in. Yeah, passes in the opposition final third, basically. So, the most attacking team or the most dominant team from an attacking perspective, they were number 1. What else have we got there? High ball recoveries, they were number 1. They were number 1 for XG, number 1 for shots, the third best in the league for expected goals conceded, and the best team in the league for shots conceded. So, strong defensively, which I guess starts from like the front line for his teams, and the best in terms of creativity and chances from an attacking perspective. So, yeah, all of that I think stacks up quite well. And I was saying this when I spoke about Struber previously as well. I just think and I spoke about it on the last side as well. He just aligns, I think, really well to the Bristol City philosophy. And for me, just, the feeling you have around Bristol City as a football club and what most fans want to see in terms of Bristol City football, it's not necessarily complete possession dominance and slow build-up. I think I didn't personally really mind it, but there were a lot of Bristol City fans that got frustrated with Manning's, at times, slow build-up. I don't think you're going to get that with Gerhard Struber. I think the football is going to be fast, frenetic, sometimes chaotic. But I think that's more aligned to like the ethos and the feeling you would have and the DNA of, I know I'm using all these deep words, you know what I mean? The DNA of Bristol City. So yeah, again, looking at that, I'm really excited about him. Now, I did use this slide on my last video about Struber as well, but I think the reason this appointment has been made, the shortlist was Rob Edwards and Struber, and again, I'll go back to it. I think he fits the footballing vision of Bristol City better than Rob Edwards does, and that's the reason he's been picked for the job. And I see the vision for how Bristol City play football and the signings that they've made and the structure of the squad that we have at the moment, right? I think we have a 4-2-3-1 squad. I showed on a previous slide, he didn't necessarily play it at Cologne, but I think that's because the squad was a little bit different from a structural point of view. But Gerhard Struber has proven to like a 4-2-3-1 and play a 4-2-3-1, you know, high press, you know, high up front or trying to win the ball high up the pitch, etc. And I think that's the squad that, well, Brian Tinian's the technical director, footballing director of Bristol City, right? I think that's the squad in the ethos that he's trying to build at Bristol City. Now, I've picked out all the players we have that I would genuinely start at the moment from Bristol City. And again, I think it fits nicely into a 4-2-3-1. And when you look at how that formation works compared to the squad, well, you've got two players who can basically play in each position, apart from possibly your striker and your goalkeeper. But I think that's personally where we need to dip into the transfer market and get someone. I think we need a new striker. I think we probably need a new goalkeeper. And I think a third sort of signing we should make is probably a sort of hang your hat on left-sided player. Sykes and you on the left, Stokes, who's obviously back from Cambridge. Hopefully he gets some good minutes for us next season. I don't see a reason to loan him out straight away. I think we give him a chance now in the Championship, and obviously Twine, who can play at the 10. Mehmeti and Bell can play left wing, but I'm not massively sold on the two of them just yet. Knight, who may well go this summer. I think we could collect, I spoke about a potential player in my last video who could replace him. And I think we should get a decent amount of money for him, and provided we can sign someone to replace him, and then also, you know, we could probably take 2 or 3 new signings with the money from Jason Knight, in addition to the player we signed to replace him. I think we could be in a good place without him. But anyway, we've got 2 players for each of those sort of defensive midfield positions. Knight, Williams, Bird and McGuane. Pringham Roberts can obviously play on the left side. McNally, Dickey on the left side of centre-back. Viner and Atkinson on the right. And then you've got Tanner and McCrory to play right-back. I just think, you know, and this team is quite athletic, high energy. I say quite athletic. Maybe not. In terms of fitness, though, and energy, I think that's one of our strengths as a Bristol City team. And I'm hoping that Gerhard Struber can, I'm hoping he can build upon it. Again, I just think the squad and the ethos of the club is well suited to the kind of football that Gerhard Struber wants to play. I'm really pleased with the appointment because I think it makes the club completely aligned in terms of where they want to go. And finally, this is only going to be a short video because I've already covered Gerhard Struber in more detail on a previous one. I'll leave a link to that in the description so you can check it out yourself. But I rounded off that video by saying, if you want to get to know a little bit more about Gerhard Struber before, he probably does an interview right when he's announced officially by the club. But he did an interview when he took the job at New York Red Bulls. I think this was over sort of COVID time. So it is a little bit, you know, a little while ago now. But it certainly looks like, well, I've listened to it. What he says on this interview aligns to what we've seen from, well, that was ChatGPT that told us sort of his style of football, etc. This is a great way to get to know a little bit more about your new manager. 16 minutes of him chatting to someone from New York Red Bulls. Really good little podcast. I'll leave a link to that in the description as well. All right, well, that's the end of the video. Gerhard Struber, the new Bristol City manager. I think it's all but confirmed at this point. He was bookies' favourite going into the weekend. Betting has been suspended. John Percy from The Telegraph has just tweeted, trying to get my words out of excitement there, that he's set to be announced. I think it's pretty much done now. I might do a live stream once the deal is done and the club have tweeted it, but by all accounts, I think we can consider it done now. Well, I'd like to think so because I've just made a video about it. You know, I could always be wrong. It's not been official from the club yet, but it certainly looks like the stars are aligning for it to happen. So yeah, if you enjoyed the video, I'd really appreciate it if you could leave a like rating, subscribe to the, I was going to say the Golden Goal channel. That's another channel I do, the Robin's Nest YouTube channel, which should be just here on your screen. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you in my next video.